Hi, it's Sherry, and today I want to break it down another yoga pose for you. This is a pose that gets usually called figure four, and I'm seated, you might guess, in a chair here because I'm going to show you several ways to do this figure four stretch. It's often recommended because it's a stretch that gets to these glute muscles here, a little muscle called the piriformis, right? So it can be really helpful if we've got a lot of tightness in this part of the body. It is often a pose that you see pictures of where people are lying down, and I'll show this version and they hug their leg close to them. But if getting down on the floor doesn't feel so great, I'm going to show you two versions first that you can do while seated in a chair. Right? So first version of this assumes that your hips are already kind of flexible. Okay? We take and we lift up one foot there. Right, and we put it on the other one. We're going to keep this foot a little bit flexed back because that's going to keep the ankle and the knee from overstretching. Now, there's a temptation here to push this knee down and make the stretch feel a little bit more, but I want you to resist that temptation. Instead, bring those hands here and pull yourself upright into more of a mountain pose. Push this down foot down. And if you do want to feel a little more, rather than pushing that knee down, what you're going to do is bring your hand here and reach your knee towards your hand. Okay. And just get a nice stretch there. And then when I'm done getting a stretch there, right, I can do the other one. I can pick it up, bring it up here. You can see it's a little higher, so I'm going to bring that hand here and just encourage that little movement downward towards my hand. I'm going to encourage myself to sit up a little taller in a mountain pose. You might add a little bit more to this, but this next bit only add if you know that your bone density is not low. If you have lower bone density, this next little seated addition is one that you're going to want to skip. And that is to lean out over the leg. Now this is going to bring it really intensely into that hip and glute area. Okay? So that is a little option you can add if it feels good. Now, some folks have told me that even this seated in a chair, their hips don't come up this high, right? Their hips aren't flexible enough for the leg to come up like that, whether they're lying down or seated in any position. So what's another version we can do of this? We take, and I'm going to just kind of make my feet a little more visible there. I'm going to take this foot over and I kind of nestle it onto the instep of the other foot. And then I'm going to bring my hands behind me for a little support as I open that knee out. And this is the same as that reaching that knee out towards the hand. So if I wanted a hand, see how I'm still holding the chair, make sure I don't get too wobbly. I might put this hand here by the thigh and just reach my thigh towards my hand a little bit. So that's a way you can get that stretch, but not having the leg up so high. When I bring this up out of there, I often bring a little support for that leg as well. Let's do the other side. So again, I nestle right on the instep of the down foot. I'm going to gently open that leg out. Pause and breathe for a moment. I might keep a hand on the chair so I don't feel too wobbly. And then when I'm coming up, I might lift that leg up and step out. So let's look at some more versions of this. I'm going to move this chair out of our way. You can see I've got a mat down here at an angle. Now let's just turn this a little bit. So I want to show a few variations that you can do. These variations, right? I'm on the floor. You could be on the bed and do this. You will need a yoga strap. Okay? So some supine versions of this. Here's what you often see if you look up this pose on the internet and say, show me figure four pose, you're going to see someone doing this, right? Holding onto that leg. They might even be curled up like this. So that curling up creates a lot of pressure on our spine. So one thing we can explore is just this right here, right? There's no leg lift at all. I've got one leg stabilizing. The other leg is opening out, just like we were when we were seated. And I can switch Right? Bring that leg out. Now, if I do want to lift a leg up, here's where the yoga strap comes in. This is a great trick. You're going to take and put that strap right underneath the knee on your supporting leg. Okay? And then I'm going to take and I'm going to cross the leg over that I want to stretch the hip. And then I'm going to pull on this strap and see how it lifts this leg up. I'm just going to let this leg relax now. One thing we can add here to really get to that little piriformis muscle is I can tilt. See this little movement here? I'm tipping my tailbone down towards my floor to just go into that hip a little bit more. I have that this foot flex back of my left leg that is up. Let's bring that down. And I'm going to switch. So I'm going to slip that strap off of the front of the right leg. Put it on front of the left leg here. Right leg's going to come over. It's crossing onto the thigh just above the knee. And I gently pull that left leg up off the floor and it brings the right leg with it. Sometimes when I'm here, I like to circle. Just do a few little circles. I have the option of bringing that leg closer. I also can keep working on trying to open that knee out. And then when I'm ready to come down, right, I just bring that left foot down and uncross the legs. So that's a great way to do that with the strap. Let me show you one more way you can use the wall itself. So I'm going to turn my mat towards the wall. And then I'm going to come and get kind of close to the wall. Not right at the wall, but pretty close. And I'm going to roll up onto my back here and see how my feet land on the wall. You could do this with your feet on a chair as well. I'll show that in just a moment. Okay, so I have the feet there, and if the hips are really tight, one of the reasons that the wall is great is I can actually take this leg up. I'm going to cross this leg, and then I'm going to start bending that knee, and it brings this leg towards me and into that figure 4 shape. What I like about this version is my arms can just relax completely. To come out, I'm going to lengthen that leg up the wall again, switch legs, cross this one, slide that foot down the wall and into a figure 4. So that's a quick wall version. You can stay in these longer. When you're ready to come out, I'm just going to roll away and back up. And let's see that with the chair. So I'm going to bring that chair back in. So we could have a chair right like that. Okay, I'll come back down. This time I'm going to put my legs on that chair. And kind of similarly, right, there's that cross. And if I want to make that a little deeper, what I do is I slide my foot, the other foot along the seat of the chair. I can even put it here at the front of the chair. That's all depending on how much give your hips and glutes have. When I'm ready to switch sides, I kind of let both legs relax. Bring this leg in for a cross. Slide the supporting foot towards the front of the chair. There's lots of supine options for this pose. I have one last one to share with you. And that is, this is a super adventure option version of this pose. So it's a standing balancing pose. You might take and put this chair right next to you on the mat, so you have a little extra support. And I'm going to do is I'm going to bend that leg and bring it up here. Okay. Now I can hold it with my hand or I can hold it with some strength. Okay. Either one that works. Those of you that don't have low bone density, you could even play with a forward fold over this. Just do both sides here. There we go. So it's kind of a cousin of figure four, a standing version. So that's multiple ways to do this pose. It can be, again, a great stretch for this area, right? The glutes and the hip flexors a little bit. All of those get a little bit of stretch with this one. Play around with it, see what works for you. Remember, you can do this, some of the versions, supine on your bed even. You don't need to be on the floor. I hope you had fun with this practice. Thank you for joining me. Peace, peace, peace.